What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nexus here. Welcome into the channel as always. Today EA dropped the 25 toughest places to play with the top 10 list leading off the tweet, and then they put the 11 through 25. So we're going to go ahead and touch on that in here. Briefly, we'll touch on the 25 through 11, and then we will go to the top 10 because it is very controversial. There's some that are even on this list that should not be, and some that aren't on this list of top 25 that should definitely be. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. Alright, let's look at this list. Right here. You have Oregon, who arguably could be in the top 10. I get if you put them out or not. But there are two on this list that should absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, be on that list. And it's not because it's SEC and I'm a Kentucky fan. But Neyland Stadium is one of the hardest places to play, as well as the Big House. I'm sorry. It is unquestionably the worst take on this list that is not in the top 10. I argue that the Big House should even be the top 5, but that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments as to this list when we're done. Let's move on to the top 10. At number 10, you have Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, aka the Swamp. One of the toughest places to play throughout the past 20, 30 years, I would say. Florida has been a perennial powerhouse. They've had national championship teams. They've had one-loss seasons, and some of the greatest players have come from that environment. But it is a very unique stadium in how it is angled to each side, and you can't tell me that this crowd right here doesn't look like it's rocking in the place to be. If you're not from the South, I can't explain to you how absolutely ridiculous SEC environments are. Coming in at number 9, and I may butcher this, so if you're a Florida State fan, please let me know on the bottom what the real pronunciation is if you can. Doak S. Campbell Stadium is the Florida State Seminoles place of play, also known as Bobby Bowden Field. So this environment, we all know the chant is unreal. It is one of the most iconic sounds in college football, so much that the Braves use it in their stadium. And I'm just curious if you think there's a cooler chant or a cooler song that goes into a stadium other than the classic, oh. We've all heard it 1,000 times, but that environment is, I agree, in a top 10. Coming in at number 8, you have Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. That is a mouthful, so therefore it should not be on this list. I do agree, though, that this should not be on a top 10 list. That's just a personal opinion, but I think it should be outside of the top 10. But it's also known as the Palace on the Prairie, and the Oklahoma Sooners play there. Welcome to the SEC. We'll see how well you do this year. But this environment is absolutely, I mean, it's just one of those places where there's no pro sports. So actually most of these on this list are places where that team is the pro sport. So that's why these environments, I think, are so difficult to play in. But nonetheless, Oklahoma should be on this top 25. I don't think it should be in the top 10. Coming in at number 7, you have Camp Randall Stadium, which is Wisconsin. Again, this is one that I do not feel should be on the top 10. Watching some of these videos and gathering this content that you can see here, it did not look like it was one of the most difficult places to play. Top 25, yes, but top 10, there's no way Michigan is not more difficult to play than this team. But I just wanted to put that in there. I don't think it should be in the top 10. Answer me this question. Has anybody ever said to you, man, I can't go to Wisconsin, it's going to be such a tough environment? I've never heard that from anybody, anywhere, anytime. They have a cool jump around, and I think that's why they're in this list, because it's one of the things that they're going to add into the game, I believe. Actually, no, it got taken out of the game, so it's not in the game anymore. But I don't think they should be in this list. Coming in at 6th on the list is Beaver Stadium, a.k.a. University Park. It is home to Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, I'm arguing that this is the top. It has to be in the top 3. 6 is disrespectful, but I think it should be in the top 6. It's always known for its whiteout games. I mean, you can't tell me there's a tougher environment to play in than those games. They're some of the funnest games to watch on TV just because the crowd goes crazy. Also, interesting fun fact, Penn State is the second at capacity for their stadium in the U.S., 4th in the world. And also, to let you know, the 2 top attendances, they have lost the game that they played. I think that's really funny. But let me know what you think. Penn State, I think, should be in the top 3. I don't understand how it's not, but here we are. Starting off the top 5, we have Sanford Stadium, otherwise known as In Between the Hedges. If you don't know, there's 2 on each end zone. There is bushes, and they call it In Between the Hedges. Georgia is a really difficult place to play. I'm not arguing that it's not. It is also one of the biggest stadiums in the SEC, and the fans, I mean, they're known for the national championships as of right now. But I think that they should be outside of the top 5. That's just me. I just want to put that out there. I think that it should be outside the top 5. Could be in the top 10. I'm fine with it being in the top 10. Let me know what you think, as always, on all these comments. Coming in at number 4 on the list is Ohio Stadium. I have actually never heard it called this. I've always heard it called the Horseshoe, the Shoe. One I saw was the house that Harley built. But for the modern era, I've only heard it called the Shoe or the Horseshoe. This is Ohio State coming in at number 4. I agree with this. Right around this area is where I think it is. I don't understand, again, how Michigan is not in this list or right next to Ohio State. They are about the same as far as difficulty to go. But I think they are deserving of this list. I think Ohio State has an incredible fan base. And just look at this environment. You can't tell me that's not somewhere you'd want to play. How this is not number 1, I don't understand. Tiger Stadium, aka Death Valley, is, in my opinion, the hardest place to play in football. College football, at night, there's nothing like that environment. I've never been. It is on my bucket list to do. I really want to get to a game one time, whether I have to make a separate trip or not. I've talked with my wife. But look at this environment and tell me that it's not absolutely insane. I, again, do not understand how this is not number 1. Tell me if you think it should be number 1 or if you think it should be different. Coming in at number 2, you have Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is a high capacity as well. As you'll see, all these in the SEC are just full of attendance records because there's nothing else to do here in the South but watch football. It is something else to be in the South and play football. There's nothing like it as far as football goes. Texas is about the only thing comparable to that, in my opinion, and I would argue that Texas is college or high school football is bigger than college football in Texas, but fight me in the comments if you want. Nonetheless, look at this environment. Look at the size of the stadium. I'm just overwhelmed at how big this stadium is. The attendance is astronomical for a college stadium, and top 10, yes. Top 2, absolutely not. I think Tiger Stadium should be above this. I think you could argue that the Michigan Stadium should be in here. I don't know. I don't like that this is number 2. So I would definitely take out the Tiger Stadium and put it ahead of this one for sure. You've made it to the end. If you've gotten this far, please hit the sub button. This means that you're very entertained by my product. But if you'll go ahead and hit that sub button, I'd appreciate it. Find me on Twitter as well at Nexus Certified, and we can debate all these kind of topics rather than you just listen to me talk on a video. But I'm grateful that you're here. But let's get into it. You have number 1 is Kyle Field. I disagree with this in the worst way. It can be top 5, but it is definitely not number 1. It is a high capacity, just like all these other SEC schools, of attendance, but there is no way it is number 1. Tiger Stadium should be above this. I am not going to listen to it. Although this does look like a fun environment to play in, absolutely not. It is not number 1. If you think different, please let me know in the comments.